Alex Carter was completely alone at Research Outpost 7 when it happened. Alone meaning just him and Kira, the Savari scientist he had been working with for the past 3 months. Nobody else. The outpost was small, remote, built for a 2-person team maximum, located on the edge of the frontier reach, far from major stations, far from help, far from anyone. They were studying atmospheric composition of nearby planetoids, routine scientific work, cataloging gas percentages, analyzing particle densities, recording data, boring work, repetitive work, but safe work, nothing dangerous, nothing exciting, just standard research that needed to be done. Alex had volunteered for this assignment. Liked the quiet, liked the solitude, liked working with Kira. Kira was Savari, tall, elegant, silver-skinned. Her species was known for scientific excellence, for precision, for dedication to research. She was brilliant, focused, easy to work with. They had developed a good partnership over 3 months. Professional, respectful, comfortable. They worked well together, understood each other's methods, could spend hours in companionable silence just doing their jobs. It was a normal day. Morning shift. They were in the main lab. Alex was calibrating instruments. Kira was analyzing data from the previous night's observations. Routine. Normal. Nothing unusual. Nothing to suggest anything was wrong. Then Kira collapsed. No warning. No gradual decline. She was standing at her workstation one moment. Then her legs gave out. She went down fast. Art would have hit her head on the console if Alex had not been close enough to catch her. Kira. Alex lunged forward. Caught her before she hit the floor. She was heavy. Savari were denser than humans. He struggled to support her weight. Got his arms under her. Lowered her carefully to the floor. What's wrong? What happened? She was shaking. Trembling violently. Her whole body convulsing. Her silver skin had gone pale. Almost gray. The healthy metallic sheen was gone. Replaced by a dull lifeless color that looked wrong. Very wrong. Her eyes were unfocused. Pupils dilated. She was trying to speak but could barely get words out. Mating season, Kira gasped. Her voice was weak. Strained. Each word an effort. It came early. Too early. I thought I had months. Didn't prepare. Didn't plan. Didn't expect this. Alex did not fully understand, but he understood emergency. He got her to the medical bay. Half carrying. Half dragging. She could barely walk. Her legs were not supporting her weight properly. He got her onto the medical bed. Started running scans. The equipment was automated. Designed for cross-species diagnosis. It would tell him what was wrong. What her body was doing. What was failing. The scan results made his blood run cold. Her vital signs were crashing. Heart rate spiking. Then dropping. Then spiking again. Erratic. Dangerous. Hormone levels were off the charts. Flooding her system. Temperature was fluctuating wildly. Down. Up again. Her metabolism was going haywire. This was not just illness. This was biological crisis. System-wide failure. What do you need? Alex asked. He was already pulling up the medical database. Searching for information on Savari biology. On mating season. On treatment protocols. Medicine? Treatment? Tell me what helps. Tell me what to do. No medicine helps, Kira said. She was barely coherent. Words slurring. Eyes closing. Fighting to stay conscious. Savari biology. During mating season. Need bonding partner. Nearby. Someone compatible. Without one the body thinks isolated. Alone. Triggers system shock. Organ failure. Death within days. Bonding partner? Alex's mind was racing. Trying to understand. Trying to find solutions. Like a mate? Like someone to mate with. No. Not mating. Just proximity. Just presence. Compatible biology nearby. She was struggling to speak. Each sentence broken by pauses. By gasps for air. Tells body safe. Safe to continue. Safe to live. Without it body shuts down. Dies. Evolutionary mechanism. Prevents isolated mating. Prevents genetic isolation. Need compatible partner present. Need Savari. Call for help, she managed. Emergency transport. Need another Savari. Fast. Please. Alex immediately sent emergency signals. Contacted the nearest Savari station. Requested immediate medical transport. Explained the situation. Life-threatening emergency. Mating season crisis. Need Savari medical personnel immediately. The response crushed him. The nearest Savari station was 3 weeks away by standard transport. They could dispatch emergency transport. Fast ship. But even that would take minimum 1 week. 7 days. That was the absolute fastest they could get someone there. Alex looked at Kira's vitals. Looked at the scan results. Looked at the medical database information on Savari mating season crisis. The prognosis was clear. Without intervention she had maybe 2 days. 3 at most. 1 week was too long. Way too long. She would be dead before help arrived. You don't have a week, Alex said. His voice was steady but his hands were shaking. Fear. Helplessness. The scans show advanced system degradation. You have maybe 2 days before critical organ failure. Maybe 3 if we're lucky. Help won't get here in time. Kira's eyes focused on him. Understanding. Accepting. Then I die. Nothing can be done. I miscalculated. Thought I had time. Didn't monitor my cycle properly. My fault. I'm sorry. Sorry you have to witness this. Sorry to leave you alone out here. No. Alex's voice was hard. Determined. No, you're not dying. Tell me what you need. Specifically. Tell me exactly what your biology requires. There has to be something I can do. Some way I can help. I'm not watching you die without trying everything possible. Need Savari, Kira said weakly. Need compatible biology. Pheromones. Biological signals. Proximity. You're human. Different species. Incompatible. Can't help. Can't provide what I need. Have we tested that? Alex asked. Have humans and Savari ever been tested for biological compatibility? For this specific situation? No. Why would they? Different evolutionary paths. Different biology. Incompatible. Then we don't actually know. We're assuming. I'm here. I'm compatible enough that we can work together. Live together. Breathe the same air. Maybe I'm compatible enough for this. Maybe human biology is close enough. We don't know unless we try. Alex? Tell me what you need, Alex insisted. Exactly. Specifically. What does your biology need from a bonding partner? What signals? What proximity? What conditions? Tell me and I'll provide it. We'll try. If it doesn't work then we've lost nothing. But if we don't try you definitely die. Tell me what to do. Kira looked at him. This human. This colleague who refused to accept defeat. Who refused to let her die without fighting. Who was willing to try something that had never been tested. Something that probably wouldn't work. But might. Just might. Stay close, she whispered. Physical proximity. Within a few feet. Constant. Continuous. Your presence. Your pheromones. Your biological signals. If you're compatible at all my body will recognize it. Will stabilize. If not, nothing changes. I still die. But we can try. Then we try, Alex said. He pulled a chair next to her medical bed. Sat down. I'm staying right here. Constant proximity. Whatever you need. However long it takes. I'm not leaving you. He didn't know if it would work. Didn't know if human biology was compatible enough. But he knew he had to try. Had to do everything possible. Because that's what humans did. They tried. They helped. They refused to give up. And maybe, just maybe, it would be enough. Kira tried to explain between waves of pain. Her body was racked with tremors. Shaking. Convulsing. She was fighting to stay conscious. Fighting to communicate. Fighting to help Alex understand what was happening to her. Savari biology, she gasped. Words coming in broken fragments. During mating season. Needs presence of potential mate. Not mating itself. Not reproduction. Just proximity. Just presence nearby. I don't understand, Alex said. He was monitoring her vitals. Watching the screens. Trying to make sense of what was happening. What does that mean? What kind of presence? Pheromones, Kira managed. Chemical signals. Biological recognition. Emotional stability. Compatible partner nearby. Another Savari. Someone biologically similar. Their presence tells body everything is okay. Safe to proceed. Safe to live through the season. Safe to survive. She gripped the edge of the medical bed. Riding out another wave of pain. Another spike in her hormone levels. When it passed she continued. Weaker now. Without it, without compatible presence nearby, body thinks isolated. Thinks alone. Thinks no potential mates exist. Evolutionary response. Body shuts down. Conserves resources. Dies rather than waste energy on mating season when no mates available. So you need another Savari near you? Alex asked. Just near you? Not to actually mate? Just to be present? Yes, exactly. Just presence. Just proximity. Just biological signals that say you're not alone. That compatible partners exist. That it's safe to continue. She looked at him. Her silver eyes focusing despite the pain. But you're here. You're the only option. Maybe you're compatible enough. Maybe human biology is close enough. Might work temporarily. Until help arrives. Until actual Savari gets here. Compatible? Alex stared at her. I'm human. You're Savari. We're completely different species. Different evolutionary origins. Different biology. How could I possibly be compatible for something this specific? Unknown, Kira admitted. Never tested. Humans are new to the galactic community. Only been in space for what, 40 years? Savari have been spacefaring for thousands of years. But we never encountered humans before recently. Never tested for biological compatibility. Never had reason to. But you're here. You're the only option I have. She reached out. Gripped his hand. Her grip was weak but desperate. Please. Try. Even if chances are minimal. Even if it probably won't work. I don't want to die. Please try. Alex stayed close. Did not argue. Did not question. Just acted. He pulled his chair right next to her medical bed. Within arm's reach. Close enough to touch. Close enough that his body heat warmed her. Close enough that they were breathing the same air. He monitored her vitals constantly. Watched every reading. Every fluctuation. Looking for any sign of improvement. Any sign of stabilization. He sat beside her bed. Did not leave. Did not step away. Just maintained constant proximity. Talked to her. About their research. About Earth. About her homeworld. About anything. Everything. Nothing important. Just constant conversation. Constant interaction. Providing what comfort he could. What support he could. Being present in every way possible. Her vitals started to change. Slowly. Very slowly. Gradually. The dangerous spikes began to even out. The erratic heart rate became more regular. More steady. Temperature fluctuations reduced. Became more controlled. More stable. Hormone levels stayed elevated. That was expected. That was normal for mating season. But they stopped climbing. Stopped spiking dangerously. Plateaued at high but survivable levels. It's working, Alex said. He was staring at the monitors. Amazed. Disbelieving. Your vitals are stabilizing. The crisis indicators are dropping. You're improving. How is this possible? Your pheromones? Kira whispered. She was still weak but noticeably better. Able to speak in fuller sentences. Able to focus. Able to think. Your biological presence. Your chemical signals. Shouldn't work. Humans and Savari have never been tested for this kind of compatibility. Never had reason to test. But you're somehow compatible. Your presence is telling my body I'm not alone. That potential partners exist. That it's safe to continue living. You're stabilizing me. But I'm human, Alex said. Still processing. Still trying to understand. We're not the same species. How can my pheromones possibly work for your biology? I don't know, Kira admitted. Maybe humans are more biologically versatile than anyone realized. Maybe your pheromone profiles are broad spectrum. Compatible with multiple species. Maybe there's something about human biology that makes you adaptable. We don't know. This has never been tested. Never been studied. But it's working. You're keeping me alive. Days passed. Alex barely left her side. Did not leave medical except for absolute necessities. Ate his meals there. Brought his work terminal there. Worked from medical. Continued their atmospheric research remotely. Analyzed data. Wrote reports. All from the chair beside her bed. He slept there too. In the chair. Short naps. Never long enough to fully leave her proximity. Never long enough to break the biological connection that was keeping her alive. He talked to her constantly. About everything. About nothing. Shared stories about Earth. About his childhood. About why he became a scientist. About why he chose frontier research. She talked about Savari culture. About her family. About her education. About her research goals. About her life. Hours of conversation. Building connection. Building understanding. Building something beyond just biological necessity. The emergency transport sent an update. They were delayed. Stellar phenomena. Unexpected solar flare activity. Dangerous radiation levels. They had to reroute. Take a longer path. Would be 2 weeks minimum instead of 1. Maybe longer if conditions did not improve. Can you last 2 weeks? Alex asked, looking at her vitals, looking at her condition. She was stable but still dependent on his proximity, still needing his presence. Can your body handle that long with just me? Without actual Sci-Fi presence. With you here, Kira said. She was sitting up now, getting stronger day by day. Yes, I think so. The vitals are stable. The crisis has passed. I still need you nearby. Still need your presence. But I'm not dying anymore. I'm surviving. You're enough. Somehow you're enough. She paused, looked at him seriously. But Alex, this means something important. This means humans and Sci-Fi are biologically compatible in ways we never knew, never tested, never imagined. You're not just keeping me alive temporarily. You're actually compatible. Your biology works with mine. Your pheromones. Your presence. Your species has something that works across species lines. That's unprecedented. That's huge. What does that mean? Alex asked. It means humans might be compatible with lots of species. Might be universal biological anchors. Might be able to bond with species we thought were incompatible. This could change everything. Change how we understand cross-species interaction. Change possibilities for cooperation, for partnership, for connection. All because I'm keeping you alive during mating season? All because you're human, Kira said. And humanity might be more special than anyone realized. They sat together. Human and Sci-Fi. Different species, different worlds, different biology, but somehow compatible, somehow connected, somehow proving that the galaxy was smaller than anyone thought, more connected, more possible. And it all started because one human refused to let one alien die alone. Sometimes the greatest discoveries came from the simplest acts of compassion. 2 weeks of forced proximity. 2 weeks of being within a few feet of each other at all times. 2 weeks of constant interaction, constant conversation, constant presence. It changed things. Changed how they saw each other. Changed their relationship from professional colleagues to something deeper. Something more significant. Alex learned about Sci-Fi culture during those long hours. Kira talked about her homeworld. About the silver cities that reflected light like mirrors. About the way Sci-Fi society was structured around research guilds. About how children were raised communally. About how family ties worked differently than human families. About traditions that went back thousands of years. About values and customs and ways of thinking that were alien to Alex but fascinating. He learned about Kira's life specifically. About her childhood. About her early fascination with atmospheric science. About her education at the finest Sci-Fi Research Academy. About her family's pride when she was selected for frontier research. About her goals. Her dreams. Her ambition to make discoveries that would matter. That would advance scientific understanding. That would leave a legacy. Kira learned about humans too. About Earth. About the blue planet with its vast oceans. About humanity's relatively recent emergence onto the galactic stage. About how young their civilization was compared to the ancient species. About human diversity. About the many cultures and languages and ways of being human that existed. She learned about Alex's reasons for being out here. Alone. On the frontier. Far from Earth. Far from family. He talked about his curiosity. About his need to explore. About his desire to be part of humanity's expansion into the stars. About why he chose isolation over the crowded research stations closer to home. About his love of quiet. Of focus. Of work that mattered more than office politics. Sci-Fi bonding isn't sexual, Kira explained one evening. She was stable now. Could walk around the outpost. Could function normally. But still needed Alex nearby. Could not stray more than about 30 feet before her vitals started to destabilize. They had tested it carefully. 30 feet was the limit. Beyond that her biology recognized the absence. Started panicking again. It's not about reproduction. Not about physical intimacy. It's emotional connection. Biological recognition of compatible partner. She was sitting across from Alex. They were in the common area. Eating dinner. Close enough for her biology to register his presence. Your species' presence tells my biology I'm not alone. That compatible partners exist. That it's safe to continue living. That's all it needs. Just knowing you're there. Just feeling your presence. Your pheromones. Your biological signals. It stabilizes everything. And humans provide that? Alex asked. My presence. My pheromones. They're enough. You are. Somehow. Kira shook her head, still amazed by it. Your pheromones. Your emotional availability. The way you talk. The way you care. The way you're present. All of it works. All of it tells my biology that I'm safe. That I'm not alone. That I can survive. Why are humans so good at this? Kira asked a few days later. They were working in the lab. Side by side. Close proximity. She was analyzing data. He was calibrating equipment. Normal work. But impossible without each other now. At forming bonds? At caring for others? At being present in the way that matters? Alex shrugged. Thought about it. It's what we do. It's built into us. We're intensely social creatures. We form connections easily. We bond with others naturally. We help because we can't not help when someone needs it. It's instinct. It's biology. It's culture. It's all of it combined. Most species can't bond outside their own kind, Kira said. Can't form these emotional connections with aliens. Can't care deeply about someone from a different world. Different biology. Different everything. But humans can. Maybe that's what makes humans different, Alex said. He was thinking out loud. Theorizing. We bond with everyone. With anything. We keep dogs as companions even though they're different species. We care for cats. We talk to plants. We form emotional connections with robots. With AI. With anything that shows even a hint of personality. We can't help ourselves. We see connection everywhere. Maybe we form emotional bonds too easily sometimes. Or maybe that's your strength, Kira suggested. Maybe that's humanity's gift to the galaxy. The ability to connect. To bridge gaps. To bond across impossible divides. The research implications were massive. Alex and Kira both understood that. If humans could stabilize Savari during mating season, what else were they compatible with? What other species could they bond with that conventional science said was impossible? What other biological barriers could human presence overcome? They started documenting everything. Recording data. Monitoring Kira's vital signs continuously. Measuring pheromone levels. Tracking emotional states. Building a comprehensive dataset. This was unprecedented. This was groundbreaking. This would change xenobiology. Change how species understood each other. Change possibilities for cooperation and connection. But something else was happening too. Something beyond the biology. Beyond the scientific necessity. Beyond the crisis that had forced them together. Alex and Kira were actually connecting. Not just because her biology required his proximity, but because they genuinely liked each other. Genuinely enjoyed each other's company. Genuinely wanted to spend time together. They laughed together. Shared jokes. Developed inside references. Found common interests beyond their research. She introduced him to Savari music. He introduced her to human literature. They discovered shared preferences. Shared values. Shared ways of seeing the world despite coming from different worlds. They talked late into the night. Long after work was done. Long after they should have been sleeping. Conversations that ranged from deep philosophical questions to silly trivial nonsense. Building friendship. Building trust. Building something that felt significant. Important. Real. Alex found himself looking forward to their conversations. To her perspective. To the way she analyzed problems. To her intelligence and curiosity and enthusiasm for discovery. He found himself thinking about her when he should have been thinking about research. Found himself wanting to make her laugh. Wanting to see her smile. Wanting her to be happy. Kira found herself watching him. Noticing details. The way he focused intensely on his work. The way he talked with his hands when excited. The way he was endlessly patient when explaining things. The way he cared. Genuinely cared. About the research. About doing good work. About her. The biological necessity had brought them together. Had forced proximity. Had created the conditions for connection. But what they were building now was choice. Was genuine. Was something neither of them had expected but both of them welcomed. 2 weeks of forced proximity had revealed something neither of them had anticipated. That humans and Savari were biologically compatible in ways science had never tested. That Alex could keep Kira alive through nothing more than his presence. His pheromones. His care. But it had also revealed something more personal. More significant. That they were compatible in other ways too. Emotionally. Intellectually. Personally. That the bond forming between them was real. Was valuable. Was worth nurturing beyond just biological necessity. The crisis had forced them together. But what they were choosing to build was entirely their own. And that choice felt more powerful than any biological imperative ever could. They still had a week before the transport arrived. A week more of forced proximity. But neither of them minded anymore. Neither of them saw it as forced. It just was. It was natural. It was right. And somewhere in the quiet routines of research and conversation and companionable silence, they both started wondering what would happen when the crisis passed. When Kira's mating season ended. When help arrived. When biological necessity no longer required them to stay close. Would they choose to stay close anyway? Would this connection survive beyond crisis? Beyond necessity? Beyond the biological imperative that had started it all? Neither of them knew. But both of them hoped. And hope felt like the beginning of something important. Something worth protecting. Something worth choosing. The galaxy was full of mysteries. Full of unknowns. But sometimes the most important discoveries happened in the quiet spaces between people. In the connections formed under pressure. In the bonds that started as necessity and became something more. And that was worth more than any scientific breakthrough. That was human. That was real. That was hope. The transport arrived exactly 2 weeks and 3 days after the crisis began. Alex saw it on the scanners first. Savari medical vessel. Fast ship. Well equipped. It docked at the outpost's small airlock. 3 Savari medical staff disembarked. Specialists. Experts in mating season biology. Ready to take over. Ready to provide proper Savari care. Ready to take Kira home. The lead medic was named Dr. Vex. Tall. Professional. Efficient. He scanned Kira immediately. Reviewed her medical data. Examined the 2 weeks of records Alex had meticulously maintained. He looked surprised. Impressed. Confused. Remarkable, Dr. Vex said. You stabilized completely. With only a human for proximity support. This shouldn't have worked. The biological compatibility required for this level of stabilization. It's unprecedented. We need to study this. Document this. Run full tests. He turned to Alex. Extended a hand. The human gesture of respect. Thank you. You saved her life. Against all probability. Against all known biology. You kept her alive when she should have died. We'll take it from here. Proper medical care. Savari presence. Finished the season safely. The crisis was over. Officially over. Kira had survived. Was stable. Would complete her mating season under proper medical supervision with actual Savari around her. She did not need Alex anymore. Not medically. Not biologically. Not as a matter of life and death. She could leave. Could go with her people. Could return to Savari space. Could finish this crisis surrounded by her own kind. That was the smart choice. The safe choice. The logical choice. Kira looked at Alex. Alex looked at Kira. Neither spoke immediately. 2 weeks of constant proximity. 2 weeks of every moment together. 2 weeks of connection and conversation and companionship. It had changed things. Changed them. Made leaving complicated. I should go with them, Kira said quietly. She was standing near Alex. Close. The habit of proximity still strong. Back to my people. Proper medical supervision. Savari presence for the rest of the season. Finish this safely. That's the smart decision. You should, Alex agreed. His voice was neutral. Supportive. Not pushing. Not pulling. Just accepting. That's the smart choice. That's the safe choice. They can provide what you need better than I can. They understand your biology. Your species. Your needs. Going with them makes sense. Neither of them moved. Neither turned to leave. Neither made any motion toward the transport. Just stood there. Close. Looking at each other. Processing. Deciding. Feeling the weight of the choice. The bond was necessity, Kira said finally. Biology forcing connection. My mating season. My crisis. My body demanding proximity to survive. We didn't choose this. We didn't choose to spend 2 weeks in constant contact. Biology forced it. Crisis forced it. Necessity forced it. She paused. Looked at him directly. But this, what we have now, what we've built, this is choice. This is real. This is beyond biology. Beyond necessity. Beyond crisis. We became friends. Became partners. Became something I value. Not because I had to. Because it happened. Because you're you. Because we work well together. Because I like being around you. I won't pressure you, Alex said carefully. Whatever you decide I'll support. You don't owe me anything. I helped because it was right. Because you needed help. Not to create obligation. Not to make you feel like you have to stay. You're free. Completely free. Make whatever choice is best for you. That's exactly why I want to stay, Kira said. Her voice was stronger now, more certain. Because you won't pressure. Because you give me choice. Because you respect my autonomy. Because you helped without expecting anything in return. Because you're kind. Because you care. Because you're you. She turned away from the transport, faced Alex fully. These 2 weeks, I've learned more working with you than I did in years working with my own people. Different perspective, different approach, different way of thinking. You challenge me intellectually, make me better, make the work better. I don't want to lose that. I don't want to lose us. Us? Alex asked quietly. Yes. Partnership, friendship, whatever this is becoming. I want to continue our research together. Want to continue learning from you. Want to continue building this connection. Not because biology demands it. Because I choose it. Because I want it. Are you sure? Alex asked. This is a big decision. Going with them is safe. Familiar. Surrounded by your own people. Staying here is unknown. Different. Just me. Just this outpost. Just our research. I'm sure, Kira said. The bond started as biology. As necessity. As survival. But it became friendship. Became partnership. Became something valuable. Became something I choose to keep. Not because I have to. Because I want to. Because you matter to me. Because this matters to me. She turned to the medical team. Dr. Vex was watching. Waiting. The other 2 Savari medics were preparing equipment. Expecting to transport her. Expecting to take her home. I'm staying, Kira announced. I appreciate you coming. I appreciate the concern. But I'm staying here. With Alex. Continuing our research. Finishing my season here. Dr. Vex looked shocked. That's not advisable. You need proper medical supervision. Savari presence for the remainder of your season. This human has done admirably, but he's not trained. Not equipped. Not ideal for your needs. He's kept me alive for 2 weeks, Kira said. He's monitored my vitals better than any automated system. He's provided exactly what I needed. He's ideal. And I choose to stay with him. But the research, another medic said. The opportunity to study this unprecedented compatibility. We need to document this. Run tests. Understand how this worked. Then schedule regular check-ins, Kira said. Monitor me remotely. Take samples. Run whatever tests you need. But I'm staying here. I'm continuing our work. This is my choice. They argued. For 20 minutes they argued. Cited medical protocols. Cited safety concerns. Cited the importance of proper care. But Kira was adamant. Was certain. Was choosing. Eventually Dr. Vex accepted it. Very well. Your choice. We'll establish monitoring protocols. Weekly check-ins. Remote vitals tracking. Sample collection. You'll follow medical guidelines. Report any complications. Agree to immediate evacuation if condition deteriorates. Agreed, Kira said. They left. Set up the monitoring equipment. Programmed the check-in schedule. Left medical supplies. Left instructions. Then boarded their transport and departed. Leaving Kira and Alex alone again. At the outpost. Together. By choice this time. Not by necessity. The outpost was quiet after they left. Kira and Alex stood in the common area. Looking at each other. Processing what just happened. What choice was just made. You really stayed, Alex said quietly. You chose this. Chose me. Chose us. Over safety. Over your own people. Over the easier path. I chose what I want, Kira said. I chose partnership. I chose friendship. I chose the work we do together. I chose you. Not because I needed to survive. Because I want to thrive. And I thrive here. With you. Doing this work. Being this partnership. Then let's get back to work, Alex said. Smiling. We have atmospheric data to analyze. Research to continue. Discoveries to make. Together, Kira added. Together, Alex agreed. They returned to the lab. To their work. To their partnership. Not because biology forced them. Not because crisis demanded it. Because they chose it. Because it mattered. Because they mattered to each other. The bond that started as biological necessity had become something more. Something real. Something chosen. Something valuable. And choice made all the difference. Choice made it real. Choice made it theirs. They worked side by side. Partners. Friends. Something more. Building something together. Something that started in crisis but would continue in choice. Would grow in freedom. would thrive in mutual respect and genuine connection. Sometimes the best things started in unexpected ways. Started in crisis. Started in necessity. But became beautiful through choice. Through freedom. Through genuine connection. And that was exactly what they were building. Together. By choice. Every single day. Their partnership became famous. Not immediately. Not overnight. But gradually. Steadily. Word spread through the scientific community. The Human and Safari at Research Outpost 7. The unprecedented case of cross-species biological compatibility. The discovery that changed everything. It started with Dr. Vex's medical report. He documented everything. The crisis. The human intervention. The successful stabilization. The biological compatibility that should not have existed. He published it in the Galactic Journal of Xenobiology. Titled it Unprecedented Human-Safari Biological Bonding During Mating Season Crisis. The scientific community exploded. This was groundbreaking. This was revolutionary. This challenged fundamental assumptions about species compatibility, about biological barriers, about what was possible. Research teams wanted to study it, wanted to replicate it, wanted to understand the mechanisms. How did human pheromones work on Safari biology? What made humans compatible when conventional science said they should not be? What were the implications? Testing began. Carefully controlled studies. Humans volunteered to be tested with dozens of different species. Safari, Valorans, Crin, Telvarians. Species after species. Checking for biological compatibility. 4 pheromone interactions. 4 bonding capacity. 4 emotional connection potential. The results were consistent. Shockingly consistent. Humans could form stabilizing bonds with almost everyone. With almost every species tested. Some bonds were biological. Pheromone-based. Chemical compatibility. Some were emotional. Psychological connection. Mutual understanding. Some were both. Biological and emotional combined. Creating powerful connections that transcended species barriers. Humans were not just compatible with a few species. They were universal bonding species. Could connect with species that could not connect with each other. Could bridge gaps thought unbridgeable. Could form bonds across divides that had existed for millennia. The implications were staggering. Humans could serve as mediators between species in conflict. Could facilitate cooperation between groups that could not work together directly. Could build bridges. Create connections. Foster understanding. All through their unique capacity for forming bonds across species lines. Other mixed species partnerships started forming. Tentatively at first. Experimentally. Humans with Safari. Humans with Valorans. Humans with Crin. Species that had never bonded outside their own kind before. Never formed emotional connections with aliens. Never considered it possible. Now forming genuine partnerships with humans. Professional partnerships. Romantic partnerships. Friendships. Families. The galaxy was changing. Becoming more connected. More integrated. More cooperative. All because humanity had this unique gift. This capacity for connection. This ability to see people as people regardless of species. Regardless of origin. Regardless of biology. Years passed. Alex and Kira continued their work at the outpost. Continued their atmospheric research. But they also became case study. Became symbol. Became proof that cross-species partnerships were not just possible but valuable. Enriching. Worth pursuing. They were still together. 5 years. 10 years. 20 years. Partners professionally. Partners romantically. Both. Inseparable. They had married. Human ceremony and Safari ceremony. Both cultures honored. Both traditions respected. Creating something new. Something that honored both their backgrounds while building something uniquely theirs. They gave lectures at universities. Traveled to research institutions across the galaxy. Taught about cross-species bonding. About human capacity for connection. About biological compatibility. About emotional bonds. About building partnerships across impossible divides. A student asked Kira during one lecture. Young Safari. Curious. Earnest. Why humans? What makes them special? What makes them different from every other species? Why can they bond when others cannot? Kira smiled. She had answered this question hundreds of times. Never got tired of it. Humans do not just survive with other species. They thrive. They connect. They form bonds not because they have to. Not because biology demands it. Because they want to. Because caring is intrinsic to what they are. Because they see people as people. Not as aliens. Not as others. Just as people. And your bond with Alex? The student asked. Was it purely biological? Mating season necessity? It started as biology, Kira admitted. My mating season. His presence. His pheromones keeping me alive. But it became choice. Became partnership. Became friendship. Became love. That is the human difference. They will save you because you need it. Because helping is what they do. They will stay because they choose to. Because connection matters to them. Because they value relationships. Because they cannot not care. Alex added from beside her. They taught together now. Partnership in everything. We are not better than other species. That is important to understand. Humans are not superior. We are just different. We connect easily. Form emotional bonds quickly. See people not as aliens but as people. That is our strength. That is what we bring to the galactic community. Not superior technology. Not greater military might. Just the ability to bond. To connect. To care. To build bridges. A Valoran student raised a hand. But does it not make you vulnerable? This capacity to bond? This need to connect? Does it not create weakness? Maybe, Alex said honestly. Maybe it makes us vulnerable. Maybe we care too much. Trust too easily. Bond too quickly. But that vulnerability is also our strength. Because we will fight for those we care about. We'll protect those we have bonded with. We'll sacrifice for those we love. That makes us powerful in different ways. Ways that matter. Years became decades. 3 decades of partnership. Of research. Of teaching. Of building something important together. Their work changed how species interacted. Changed galactic policies. Changed diplomatic protocols. Changed understanding of compatibility. Changed possibilities for cooperation. Mixed species partnerships became common. Not universal. Not for everyone. But common enough that they were not shocking anymore. Not unprecedented. Just another way beings connected. Just another way families formed. Just another beautiful expression of connection across impossible divides. Young researchers studied Alex and Kira's work. Their partnership. Their decades of data. Their proof that connection transcended biology. That choice mattered more than necessity. That love could grow from crisis. That bonds formed in desperation could become foundations for lifetimes. Kira told them during seminars. During training sessions. During mentorship meetings. My biology brought us together. Crisis forced proximity. My mating season created necessity. But our choice kept us together. Our genuine connection. Our mutual respect. Our shared values. Our love. That is not biology. That is not necessity. That is choice. That is commitment. That is what makes bonds real and lasting. She looked at Alex. Still beside her after 30 years. Still her partner. Still her choice. Every day. And humans excel at that. At choosing connection over isolation. At caring when they do not have to. At being there when others need them. At building something beautiful from crisis. At turning necessity into choice. At making love from proximity. That is their gift. That is what they bring. That is why they matter. They worked until retirement. 70 years old for Alex. 80 for Kira. Different lifespans. Different biologies. But they had built a life together. Had made it work. Had proven every day that different species could not just coexist but thrive together. Could build something beautiful together. Could love across impossible divides. Still together. Still partners. Still proving every day that the best bonds were not forced by biology. Were not demanded by necessity. Were chosen despite difficulty. Were built through effort and commitment and genuine care. Humanity's reputation spread across the galaxy. The bonding species. The bridge builders. The ones who could connect with anyone. Who cared about everyone. Who formed families across species lines. Who saw people as people regardless of origin. Regardless of biology. Regardless of anything except their personhood. All because one human stayed beside one dying alien and refused to let her face the crisis alone. Because Alex Carter chose to help Kira even when it seemed impossible. Even when science said it should not work. Even when the odds were against them. Sometimes the greatest discoveries came from the simplest human impulse. To help. To care. To be there. To refuse to let someone suffer alone. To try even when trying seemed futile. To connect even when connection seemed impossible. That was enough. That was everything. That was humanity's gift to the galaxy. And Alex and Kira proved it. Every day. For decades. Built a life together. Built a legacy together. Built proof that love transcended species. That connection transcended biology. That choice mattered more than necessity. Their story became legend, became symbol, became hope. Proof that the galaxy was smaller than anyone thought. More connected, more possible, more beautiful. All because one human refused to give up. Refused to let someone die. Refused to accept that incompatibility meant impossible. And that refusal changed everything. For them. For humanity. For the galaxy. Sometimes that was all it took. One person. One choice. One refusal to accept the impossible. One act of simple human kindness. That was the power of humanity. That was their gift. That was their legacy. And it was enough. It was everything.